Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Yo, what is up, my friends? Welcome back to What the French Toast, your favorite podcast on the internet that leaves you asking yourself the question, what the French toast did I just listen to? And I don't know what Megan's going to talk about today, but I feel like it's going to captivate that.
Yeah. Oh, hi, I'm Megan. Yeah, I think it will be very what the French toast is happening here today.
Let's go. That's what we're here. Like, that's literally what we're here for. So,
in case you didn't know.
In case you were wondering, yeah.
It's kind of like our whole brand.
Also, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Skylar, and that's my dog that's walking around. So don't be concerned. It's okay.
If you see her in the video when Skylar's on screen and you want to say hi, you can comment hi Nala with a dog emoji. And you will give her pets for every hi Nala she gets.
That's a fact. Well, yes.
On
camera next time. Yeah.
Not today. Yeah. Well, yeah, because we're not going to see it. They're comments after the fact.
Well, anyways, guys.
Anyways, are you ready?
Yeah, I am ready. Let's get it.
Cannot be saved. Follow me.
Welcome to the Ugly Radio on the Podmoth Network, a lo-fi sci-fi audio theater anthology series made for late nights and strong drinks. Join us monthly as we broadcast a pirate signal across time and space, featuring stories, songs, and frequencies from a rotating list of voice actors, writers, storytellers, and musicians. If you're looking for high-quality science fiction, skin-crawling horror, and other genre fiction, listen to The Ugly Radio on the Podmoth Network, now available wherever you get your podcasts. The Ugly Radio. See you in the void.
Awesome. We are diving in to the mysterious death of 19-year-old Arlis Perry, a newlywed who vanished after heading to a late-night prayer at Stanford's chapel. What was found inside of that chapel sparked over 40 years of confusion, speculation, and chaos.
What was found in a chapel?
What was found inside the chapel that she went to.
Okay.
Sparks 40 years of confusion, speculation, and chaos.
Okay, I'm sorry. Like, I feel confused. So, it's her, like, a singular person?
Mm-hmm.
And her name is?
Arlis Perry.
Arlis Perry. Did you say something about a couple?
No, you want me to read it again?
Yeah.
Okay. We're diving into the mysterious death of 19-year-old Arlis Perry, a newlywed who vanished after heading to a late-night prayer session at Stanford's chapel.
I figured out what confused me.
She's newly married.
Yeah, well, I in my head, like, I was attributing, like, newlywed to, like, newlywed couple.
Oh, okay.
But it's not the situation here. Okay, continue. I'm sorry, Megan.
Okay. All right. Arlis K. DeCema. Now, that might be the wrong pronunciation. I could not find it anywhere. She grew up in Bismarck, North Dakota. This is very short history, where she and Bruce Perry were high school sweethearts. They got married in summer of 1974 when Arlis was 19. In August 1974, Arlis and Bruce moved to Stanford University so she can be with her husband, who was a sophomore pre-med student. Arlis had been working as a receptionist at a local law firm, and she was described as being very conservative, religious, but she was very kind and outgoing, and they were reported to be a pretty normal, happy, healthy couple. On October 12th, 1974, Arlis decides to go on a late-night walk, reportedly around 11 p.m., and Bruce decided to join her. This seemed to be a pretty normal thing for her to do, though. Like, she'd kind of take, like, prayer walks and, like, you know, go on these walks at night when she needed to think through things and, you know. Yeah. During their walk, the couple gets into an argument. The argument was about which one of them was responsible for airing up the tires in their shared car.
Okay, so, like, you know, definite, like, yeah, that's problematic, okay?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of a thing. It's like, is it who drove it last? Is it him because he's, like, the guy and, like, car stuff is, like, generally, like, stereotypically a guy thing?
I feel like, just personally as a dude, I feel like it's always our responsibility to air up the tires. Like, I feel like that's just a common agreed upon.
Whoever I end up with, if they want air in our tires, they should probably do it themselves.
You hear that? Oh, do you hear that, Reginald? Whoever she ends up with.
From my perspective, I have to Google every time how much air I need in my tires.
Yeah, Bigfoot Hunter 367. Better learn how to air up tires, brother.
So as the argument kind of continues throughout their walk, Arlis asks for some space. She decided she wanted to go inside and pray alone at the Stanford Memorial Church.
Okay.
So they parted ways around 11:30 p.m. Bruce doesn't want to go pray right now. He wants to go home, so he walks back home about half a mile.
Okay.
When she walks into the church, there are two people there. They notice her coming in. She kneels down at the altar and begins to pray. Shortly after they leave, on their way out, they notice a young man, approximately 25 years old, blonde hair, and a short-sleeved blue shirt coming into the church. Maybe 5'10" is kind of their guess. And reportedly, one of the witnesses reported that he did not have on a watch.
Okay. That's oddly specific.
So I did listen to a podcast that I can't say the name of because it says it's a cuss word in the podcast. But basically, it's like, the podcast is like, I said GD, right? You get it?
Somebody named their podcast that?
Yeah. And
that's why.
I loved the podcast. Their style, as far as like the information that they gave, was great. They were just a little too vulgar for me personally, as far as like
Understood.
They cuss
Yeah.
a lot, and and it was just
Sure.
a lot. It was a lot. And I'm not saying that from a religious perspective. It was a lot anyways. But they were talking about how that was also like a really weird thing to notice. But I guess in like the 70s, like you didn't have cell phones. So you kind of needed to have a watch in order to keep track of time. So
that
they
makes sense. Yeah.
noticed
That
that.
makes sense.
I didn't really think of it from that. I would have never probably noticed something like that. I might have noticed if I saw him like with a flip phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's true. But yeah, I mean, to be fair though, like nowadays you still realize like if somebody walks by, at least I don't know, maybe I'm different, but I feel like if somebody, I'm like a big watch guy, right? It's like if somebody walks by me in like a Rolex, I'm like noticing that.
You're going to notice a really nice watch, but like an average like Apple Watch or something like that, you're probably not going to notice.
I notice that people have like the Apple Watch Ultras because, hashtag Ultra Gang. But anyway.
Okay, anyways. So a little after midnight, the campus security guard, Stephen Crawford, comes to lock up the church. He reports no activity inside and no one inside, and that's it. Around 2 a.m., Crawford comes back and does another check on the church and reports that the doors were still locked.
Okay.
But at this point, Bruce is worrying about his wife. She hasn't come home yet.
Right.
He's looking around campus all night to find her, but at around 3 a.m., he decides, you know what, I'm going to call the police because she's not home yet, and this is not like her.
Sure.
The police go and check out the church because that's where she was last seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find the doors still locked and reportedly told Bruce that it was unlikely that anyone was inside.
But they didn't check though.
Well, the doors were locked.
Right.
So they didn't unlock the church and go inside and check. They just saw that the doors were locked and assumed that there's no way someone could be inside because the doors are locked and security would have done their job. But around 5:45 a.m., the campus security guard Crawford comes back to open the church back up in the morning. And he finds that one of the side doors on the west side of the building was left open and that it had been forced open from the inside of the church. So he goes inside and he finds Arlis's body laying face up in the front row of the church where she had last been seen praying.
That's so interesting. And okay, so it was essentially what you're telling me is a security killed this lady.
Let me get into it.
Okay.
So we've all talked about the blanket disclaimer on all of our episodes. I'm going to give you another one. I've tried to get rid of as much like graphic detail as I can, but it's relevant to the whole story, so I had to keep some of it in. So disclaimer, it's messed up. Fast forward 2 or 3 minutes for anyone who just doesn't want to hear. Arlis was found face up with her hands folded across her chest. An ice pick was sticking out of the back of her head, but the handle had been broken off and was missing. There were also signs of strangulation. Police reported that Arlis was naked from the waist down. It's so messed up. A 3-foot-long altar candle was inserted inside of her, and another was placed between her breasts, like she's holding it. That's like why her hands were crossed, basically.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, yeah.
And her jeans had been arranged across her legs, like upside down in like a diamond pattern. So like the legs, like the leg holes were by her waist, and then the waistband was by her feet, but like in a diamond pattern.
Okay, that kind of makes sense, yeah.
So the whole scene kind of appeared to be very ritualistic and just really
that's what I was thinking.
And obviously like really messed up, like really twisted. So the Santa Clara County Office of the Medical Examiner reported at the time that Arlis Perry had died from a knife wound to the back of her head, which was likely the ice pick, and they begin to investigate. During the investigation, they find semen on a kneeling pillow nearby, as well as a partial handprint on one of the candles. Like I said before, they noted that the crime scene was like very ritualistic and sadistic in nature,
yeah,
and did not really appear to be like a crime of passion, right? Like this is not like a spur of the moment thing. It seemed very like specific. So of course, the number one suspects, Bruce Perry, her husband, Stephen Crawford, the security guard.
Yeah.
They are questioned. Bruce is given a polygraph, which he does pass. And it is reported that Stephen Crawford refused to take a polygraph and had been talking about how he didn't like the line of questioning about the case. And he was pretty uncomfortable with everything. So, of course, they do more investigation. Neither of their DNA samples match the semen found on the scene, nor did their handprints match the handprint that was found on the candle.
Okay.
Now, I'm not 100% sure how this was identified because DNA profiling wasn't widely used until the 1980s.
Right.
But they did it, apparently, and felt confident enough about it that they weren't concerned. At least 7 people were in the Stanford Memorial Church during the night of October 12th and the morning of October 13th. So that is Arlis Perry, the victim, Stephen Crawford, the security guard, and 4 other people were identified. So that's 6 people total. They were questioned and all found to have alibis, be innocent, all of those things. The 7th person was not identified, and that was the blonde guy that they had seen without a watch from earlier.
Okay.
So they never found him. They never questioned him. But unfortunately, because of that, this leaves the police with no leads at all, and the case goes cold.
Okay.
Arlis Perry's case remained open and was routinely reviewed as a cold case by the cold case unit of the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office and the Sheriff's Office. 44 years later, in June of 2018.
Okay.
I know. The police retest the DNA that they had found on scene and got results that allowed them to obtain a search warrant for, can you guess what?
Yeah, the security guard.
Yeah, for his, you guessed it, Stephen Crawford's apartment. So they had been questioning. Go ahead.
Really fast. The fact that this man was still alive 44 years later.
Yeah, he would have been in his 70s.
Insane. Yeah, man lived a long life.
Yeah, he would have been in his 70s at this point. They had been questioning him on and off, for 40 years because every time new investigators would come in, they needed his statement because, of course, like he was the one who found her. He was the one who locked up the church, So, but they never really took him off their suspect list because they just didn't have enough evidence to say yes or no, basically.
Right.
So they go, once they get this warrant, they go and they knock on his door. And here is a summary of a statement from the sheriff of Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office. So Sheriff Lori Smith of the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office said during a press conference that Stephen Crawford was always considered a person of interest in the case and was aware that he was a suspect in the case. Detectives questioned Crawford through the 4 decades that the crime went unsolved, and were serving him with a search warrant when he took his own life in his apartment. Yeah.
So, because, that's pretty guilty in my opinion.
According to a statement released by the San Jose Police Department, during the execution, this is quote, during the execution of the search warrant, sheriff's deputies made verbal contact at a closed front door with an occupant in the apartment. As deputies made entry, they observed an adult male with a handgun, and the deputies immediately backed away. A short time later, a gunshot was heard. No deputies discharged their weapons. Deputies eventually entered the residence and discovered an adult male with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The male was pronounced deceased at the scene. No one else was present or injured. End quote.
Okay. Interesting.
So next step is to search the apartment. What they find is a suicide note dated 2 years prior to this incident. Now, I could not find a copy of said suicide note or anything that states what the suicide note might have said, but it was dated 2 years prior to this specific incident. And
that's interesting.
A book that recounts Arlis Perry's murder. Now, this book is called The Ultimate Evil, an investigation in a dangerous satanic cult. Now, this book mentions Arlis's murder in regards to the author Maury Terry investigating Son of Sam, which is David Berkowitz. That's the guy who was Son of Sam from the 1970s. So earlier, And his core argument in his book is that he argues that Berkowitz was not a lone killer, but rather a part of a nationwide network of dangerous satanic cults. Now, we're not getting into David Berkowitz's case, I promise. That's a whole nother 3-part podcast.
Yeah.
But it's reported that serial killer David Berkowitz mentioned the Perry murder in a few letters, suggested that he heard the details of the crime from Manson II, the alleged culprit. In the San Jose Mercury News, Jesse Seifer noted that, quote, investigators interviewed Berkowitz in prison and now believe he has nothing of value to offer regarding the Arlis Perry case. However, this investigative reporter / author Maury Terry noted that Berkowitz had volunteered information about the case without being prompted, ever. And that he wrote in 1979, quote, Arlis Perry hunted, stalked, and slain, followed to California, Stanford University.
That's wild. So this was planned. This was he knew who his victim was going to be.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that her case was widely known in the media around the time that he was an active killer, if that makes sense. And or he just heard about it through the grapevine or through the news, in some way, and just wanted to play around with people. Because I do believe that Crawford, Stephen Crawford, the campus security guard, was alone in perpetrating this murder based on the DNA evidence, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I think just
sense.
At the time of the incident, they didn't have the proper technology needed in order to analyze the evidence, basically. They did what they could, whatever that might have been. That podcast that I mentioned, they talked about, could they even do that? Or was it just you have swimmers or not have swimmers?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? How did they, or could they test it by blood type or whatever the case was? I'm just not sure exactly what science they used to do it.
That is interesting.
It's just a weird tie-in that there's nothing anybody, I did a lot of research on that, and there really is nothing that anybody can tie into David Berkowitz for real. There's no evidence to actually tie him to it other than this investigative reporter / author who believes that it is the case.
Okay. No, I guess that makes sense.
So the book itself was not something that Stephen Crawford wrote. It was written by that Maury Terry guy who had been investigating David Berkowitz, basically, and reporting on David Berkowitz. And so he's basically saying that he believes that not necessarily that David Berkowitz was responsible, but that David Berkowitz had been a part of that nationwide network of satanic cults. Mm-hmm. And so that's how he knew about it, because the satanic cults had been communicating and bragging to each other, and that the person who killed Arlis Perry was probably part of those satanic cults.
That's insane.
There's no evidence to support that other than Stephen Crawford owning a copy of this book.
Sure. That's still...
Now, I will say that the best motive that could be determined from Crawford as to why he might have killed Arlis Perry is that he was upset with Stanford University because he used to be a campus police officer, but he had been demoted to a campus security guard. And it's reported that he was actually very bitter about it, and he would allegedly steal things from around campus. He made a fake diploma from Stanford University with his name on it, and was allegedly known to be a liar to pretty much everyone around him. And he actually at one point reportedly lied about his parents having died in a car crash, despite that never actually happening.
Why would you lie about that?
People are crazy.
Yeah.
But basically, the only thing that the police can come up with is that Arlis's murder was an attempt from Stephen Crawford to make the Stanford campus look bad. And
that's
keeping
such
in mind,
an
this
extreme...
it's also mid-satanic panic, right? So there's a lot of people freaking out about satanic cults and Satanists and these ritualistic killings. And it's also California, where there's 47, active serial killers in the 70s. And So they think that it was just something he cooked up to make it look like a ritualistic satanic killing in a church, mind you. So that way the Stanford campus would look even worse, because not only did a young, newlywed woman only a few months after being married get killed on campus, it was in a church in a ritualistic way.
Right. Man, dude, what an extreme extent to go to prove a point. Like that is
because
insane.
Why? You got demoted? You probably got demoted for a specific reason. You probably messed up, dude.
Well, the fact that you literally resorted to killing a human because of your anger is probably exactly why you got demoted.
Yeah, exactly.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And then, see, here's my thing. Don't act like you didn't do it for your own sick, twisted, pleasure, right?
Well, and the downside is that they're kind of just making this up, the police.
Right.
They don't have specific reasoning. As far as I could tell, it's not like his suicide note specifically mentioned anything about why he might have done it or why he was even taking his own life. I mean, he got to live a full, happy, healthy life. He lived until he was 70.
Yeah, and then he took his own life. Like, he could have made it to 80. Who knows? That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Just,
imagine waiting 40 plus years thinking you got away with it. Because every time the police ask you questions about it, knowing that you're a suspect, they don't have anything on you, so they can't pin it on you. Do you know what I mean? But imagine waiting 40 plus years, and then one day they show up and we're like, we got you, bro. You know what I mean?
Poor husband, too. I don't know. I mean, it would suck. Absolutely be heartbreaking to lose your wife, especially, a newly wedded wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then to lose her in such a disgusting, perverted way...
Mm-hmm.
would be, man, it would really set you over the edge. Poor guy. I hope that for the 40 years that he got away with it, he felt guilt, tremendous amounts of guilt for it every single night he laid his head on his pillow.
I hope so.
I hope that I hope that messed him up, man. I hope that really, really effed him up mentally.
I mean, it probably did, because he did write a suicide note 2 years prior, but even then, that's still 42 years too late, my dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that should have been his outcome the whole time, but certainly shouldn't have waited 40 plus years to make that type of decision. You messed up and you took someone's life. You should pay the price for that.
Man. Any, did the husband, any word on him? Any updates or anything?
No. Yeah, I couldn't find anything. I hope and pray that he lived a very happy and long and healthy life and, recovered from the trauma that would have been losing your high school sweetheart at such a young age. But I don't know.
Yeah, and that's so young, man. It's 19 years old to get murdered like that. Yeah. That's awful. Rest in peace. That sucks.
So that's the story of Arlis Perry.
Rest in peace, Arlis Perry. Man, that sucks. Yeah, a good story, but man, that was a lot.
Yeah, I told you it was messed up.
Yeah, man. Well, my friends, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you have not already, go ahead and like and subscribe for more content just like this. Megan, anything else to add?
No, not today.
Well, in that case, don't be dumb. I love you guys. Good night, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.